Do you ever wonder, why does what used to win me deals barely work anymore? And this one is a frustrating question because when you think about it, what this means is that you had a strategy that you used to use in selling opportunities, and that strategy used to win. It used to get you deals, and now all of a sudden it doesn't. So the way that I often think about this is think about baking, right? So imagine that you had a recipe for bread, right? And you've followed this recipe forever. It always produces incredible bread, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. And you try again and again and again, and 9 times out of 10, the bread is garbage. So what happened? In baking, if that happened, what you would think is there's some ingredient or some variable that changed. And so what I need to figure out is why. Maybe my yeast was bad. Maybe the oven is problematic. Maybe I'm trying this recipe at a different altitude. It's not producing the results. So in baking, you would determine what is the change. And then once you know that change, then you can adjust for it. So here, we're talking about human conversation. And obviously that's a lot more complicated, but the underlying principle is true, right? So if what used to work doesn't anymore, that means some variable is different. So let's talk about two variables in this. The first one is competition. So unless you have a monopoly, you have competition, and buyers have alternatives that they can choose other than you. And so it could be that the thing that's changed in this equation is your competition. So imagine that they are trying some new and exciting strategy. And so all of a sudden, by comparison, what you used to do or still do seems less compelling compared to what they're doing. So it could be a contrast problem where they've upped their game and you haven't, and so you're starting to fall behind. Or maybe it's that the competition got tired of you beating them, so now they are copying what you used to do. And so now you guys are using the exact same strategy. And so from a buyer perspective, it's no longer exciting, right? It doesn't stand out. And that's why it's not leading to wins like it used to. So that's the first change it could be. The second change it could be is the buyer themselves. So buyers are constantly changing and they're evolving in their thinking, perspectives, worries, etc. And so it could be that something is shifted in the buyer's world, and all of a sudden these old approaches and the old strategies just aren't as relatable anymore, right? So if you think about, hey, how they do research, how they like to shop, what they're worried about, what are their underlying problems, what are their aspirations they're striving for, any of those that have changed, and you're coming in with old strategies and old approaches, all of a sudden can make you feel like a bit of a dinosaur compared to where they want to go and how they want to run their business. So I just want to encourage you that if you find yourself wondering this and being frustrated by this, you don't want to just double down. I've seen so many sellers that they see it and they feel it, but then their answer is, I know it works. It works in the past, and if I just keep doing it, it'll work again. It's like a baseball player in a hitter's slump, right? They feel like if I just keep swinging, eventually I'll get it. And it could be. I think there are some rare occasions where maybe you can just, get out of your slump and all of a sudden it works. But as a general rule of thumb, repeating failing strategies again and again and again, hoping for better results, usually is not a winning approach. So I just want to encourage you, if you find that your results are starting to taper off, even though you're doing the same things that were successful in the past, just pause for a moment and think about, has something changed? And if it has, how can I adjust my strategy to account for that? And a lot of times it doesn't need to be some massive overhaul. It could just be small adaptations of your strategy, but nothing is going to change unless you take time to reflect and think about what's changed and what should I do about it.